all right, we got to talk about the finale episode, which I
just like dumbfounded. I didn't know, and I couldn't tell anyone. Couldn't tell any of my friends, and I didn't want to either. I would have rather, be a surprise. I made the mistake of telling my 7-year-old nephew, and I think he told everyone in class, and my family, and my brother got angry. So I realized never again. But then when we started working on it, we came and we'd spend like 6 hours on each episode just rehearsing and reading through, and Oscar and Ethan are incredible. They're like, it felt like a play that we were sort of tearing apart. And in the moment, I couldn't really take in, as someone who's like workshopping with them. It's like Scarlet Scarab comes in, whatnot. It's like, all right, does it work? Does it fit? Okay. I wasn't really giving myself that time to really let it sink in. And even when we filmed it, it's kind of go, go, go. And I'm a goof on set. I just want to have fun. And I've realized that's kind of what gives me energy when you're filming at 3 a.m. So I was just being silly all the time. I was trying to play. We would do the scene, and then I'd just get out of it. And I can't tell you how it feels when you're watching it instead, and you have the effects and the music, and it's so nice to see it as a viewer. I feel like I watch it as a viewer, not like that's me. So when sometimes I'm like, oh my God, that's me.
That's you. That's you.
Oh.
Oh, like I'm getting emotional even thinking about it. Like when the transformation happens, I remember looking at my husband, and we both were just like, it was like a cathar. It was like we had like chills from like our heads down to our toes. We're just like screaming at the top of our lungs. It was such a moment. And I want to talk about the actual transformation, because what I found too to be so profound and amazing was the costume does not objectify her.
Yeah.
It's not gender specific, really. Her hair remains curly. There's not like this miraculous like makeup transformation that happens. I mean, let's talk about those specifics and how powerful that is in itself for young women or people of all ages to see.
It was really important to Mohammed Diab to create a costume that wouldn't objectify in any way. And I feel like we've gotten very used to dressing in a certain way, and I'm all for women empowerment, and I dress how I feel like on any given day. But sometimes heroines have been shown in a certain way, and I don't know that it was always the woman's choice. And that's the most important part of it. I grew up in Bahrain, and it feels like the time I grew up was pretty sheltered. I wasn't exposed to social media, and I had no idea growing up I wasn't aware of what I looked like, of my body, or any of that. And I'm grateful for that, because I really feel for what women are going through now. And I tell some of my really close friends, well, one of my best friends has recently decided he wants to become an actor. I'm recent, like 4 years ago. And it was something I really drill into her, is like, just don't even, there's this idea like we have to focus so much on what we look like, but don't even care. And I went through that. I had to get drilled out of me. And then one day I feel like I got out of it, and I started to not even wear makeup on my tapes, not care about my hair. As someone with curly hair, initially I'd be like, oh, I need to like curl this one piece to let it fit in a little more. And I just got it out of my head, because I really want to be an artist that a casting director sees for the life within me and what I can bring out for a role. I never want to get work based on how I look. And I feel like if we put that attention on ourselves, we will attract those kinds of roles. And it's not satisfying, not after a while. So that was something big for me coming into this project. Is I wanted Layla's hair to get messy. I wanted I would watch I would watch playback of when we were doing episode 4 and she was in the tomb, and I was like, oh my gosh, like she looks insane. It's just like sweaty, messy hair, everything, and I loved it. Because I was like, this is what it would be like. Well, I don't know if I'd probably be this is what you would go through. And I just want to be real in my work. I never want to put on a face of what I look like when that's not really what I look like, because it's harmful to me, and it's harmful to so many young women out there. It's we've just entered this world where we focus so much on that, and I think that being free from that is a gift, and then we can really show who we are as women.
Oh, yes. Wow, that was so beautifully said. I couldn't agree more. I often talk a lot about how, as women, we first sort of get we learn about objectification and how we're sexualized by things we see on screen a lot of the times. So, and it's so confusing as a young woman as to know what you want and who you are versus who you think you should be because of what you see on screen. And that's why I think that the character of Layla, the Scarlet Scarab, is so much more than just a superhero. She truly is representing that. She's changing the game. She is giving young women a new perspective of what it means for self-expression, for and I feel so grateful. I have young nieces, and I remember when I saw the episode, I texted my brother immediately and I was like, are you watching Moon Knight? Like, are the girls watching Moon Knight? Like, because it's so powerful. Like, it's truly so powerful.
Yeah.
And we can be what we see. I mean, it's as simple as that, right? It's like
we can.
And I just have to say my favorite moment too of the whole series, I think, was when that young girl asks Layla in Arabic, are you an Egyptian superhero? I mean, what was like reading that on the page, unless it was improv, but if it was in the script, when you saw that on the page, like, what was your first reaction?
It like I said, I wasn't getting sentimental over anything when we were reading it and going through it, and that was a part that could have gone either way. It could have been really beautiful, or it could have been on the nose.
So cheesy, yeah.
I sometimes was like, guys, are we sure? Like, do we? And Mohammed was like, yes, I know exactly how we're going to do this. And it's because I was in it. So in the moment, I wasn't looking at her. And I was just trying to, it's like a moment with the bus, and yes, and then go.
There's a lot going on. She's just kicking ass across the board.
I was stopping a bus casually from hitting a girl.
As one does. As one does when they become an avatar of Egyptian goddess. Like, as one does.
I know.
I mean, I think, let's talk about the avatar concept for a minute. What I found to be so cool, I was talking to my husband about this, there's a lot of, it's rare that him and I can, share a passion for a show, at this level. So it's really fun, dissecting it, right? It's very rare. But how the avatars are not gender specific.
Yeah.
And I thought that was I loved that take on it, that whether it be a goddess or a god, a man or a woman can embody that avatar, which I think in itself is a really cool idea.
Yeah. Hey, I feel like we can get into so many different nuanced conversations about this, about how we carry both masculine, feminine energies, and also how there is kind of a one through line when it comes to wisdom. It's not gender specific in many ways, and we'd like to think that the gods hold that wisdom to some degree. And when a message comes down, it's not, like I said, gender specific.
It's very cool. That's why I think this series was just so beautifully layered in so many ways. It's like the MCU, right? It's I think it's the biggest franchise in the world. And it's a platform, and they're truly using their platform for good in that ways, and creating complex, meaty, developed characters. I love it. This is what I live for. This is what I live for, May.
You're passionate about it.
I'm very excited.
But I think this is what the MCU is really great for. All of their movies have a deeper meaning and speak to something. So you can really take it in from wherever you're at or from wherever you're in the mood to age. And I think that's really a skill to
100%.
be able to.
And I mean, I know we don't know. I don't even want to ask because I know you don't know. Nobody knows, but I would like to see more of Layla. I just feel like there's so much more to explore. Her journey is just beginning. There's so much to unpack with the relationship with her father. There's, you know, her relationship with Mark and Steven. Another thing I love about this series is it sort of destigmatizes mental health issues. Like you know, again, it's just so layered. So I hope we continue seeing Layla. I bet you would love to step into her shoes again.
Me too. I love playing Layla. She brings out a side of me that, well, I'm really stepping into her, and it's so interesting when you're really in a role and then your instincts start to change because and then it's annoying. I'm like, no, this is what I do. Realize, oh wait, I'm playing someone else right now. This isn't what I would do, and it's a gift. And Layla has been a true gift. And you know, in as an actor, you look at the arc of the character and how you can build that with whatever space you have. And I love her arc, and I felt like it mirrored my own as an actor in many ways. Getting in there and being really intimidated about working on such a big production with actors like Oscar and Ethan and you know, Mohamed Diab and Aaron and Justin, the other two directors, I was petrified. And so to really start to believe in myself and see what I'm offering to the role, how I'm an integral part of it, and how Layla's an integral part of it, and use my voice, trust myself. I feel like we go on those arcs generally in any profession, not just as and it's so important to celebrate those wins along the way for ourselves when we notice that we're stepping into ourselves even more.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And so authentically too. I think that she's such an authentic character in that way that I can only imagine was such a gift to play, because you gave us the gift of Layla, and knowing that Layla gave you that gift is just such a beautiful relationship. What do you most admire about Layla? There's so much.
Is her fun. She just she wants to do what's right for the people, almost to a detriment, because I don't think she puts herself first. I think the first time she really puts herself first is episode 6, but in episode 2, when we were filming it, we were filming, and like Oscar, we were just, some stuff went down and I broke my pinky because we were
just all the stunts.
We didn't everything properly. Just like the tip of my pinky, and everyone was like, "Stop! You need to figure this out. Go." And I guess there was just too much adrenaline, and I was like, "No, we're gonna keep going." I took a bit of a break because I was about to faint, and then I just wrapped a tissue, and I was like, "Let's just keep going. I want to finish this scene." And that's not really my personality. I'm very like, oh, I think I need to sit down right now and just take care of myself. And so I learned this new side of just going, find solutions in the moment, on the way, and kind of reckless sometimes. I admired it. And I also admired how, like, when she met Mark, who she thought was Mark, but it was Steven, she was quite patient with him. She was because she was like, I'm not falling for this. If like you don't want me around this bad that you're pretending to be someone else, then go. But she took it in, as opposed to really making it about her. Even in episode 3 on the boat, it's not like, why would you do this to me? Like she's like recognizing there's something wrong, and I think that's a beautiful character, and it has to do with, you know, an understanding of mental health and that it's not really about you. It's like someone is going, how can I support them? And I can choose if I want to stay or not, but I can't blame them.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I thought
So
it was
true.
really,
And that's hard. That's really hard. I mean, but it takes a lot of sort of patience and, understanding to sort of take a step back and say, okay, I see I need to be here for this person in a different way than I normally am. And I think that Stephen was so incredibly healing in that way for Mark, as we saw, but also for Layla.
yeah.
Yeah, it was like Stephen sort of allowed her to process a lot that I think, because she's a goer, I think she rarely takes a beat for herself to kind of say, to deal with her trauma, to deal with her grief, to deal with her, what went down, the love lost, the resentment that was built between her and Mark.
Mm-hmm.
And Stephen starts to help her heal a little bit. And that's what I need more of too.
We love Stephen.
Stephen's the sweetest.
I know, when she's ready to be like, bye, you've been pushing me away long enough, Stephen comes. And it's just like, okay, I can't walk away right now, because
No, how can you walk away from Stephen? Like, he's such a gem.
he's incredible.
Talk about being genuine. Yeah.
He really was such an incredible scene partner, and was always making me feel, I think he could feel I was intimidated in the beginning, and he was just fun. And during it would be such an intense moment for him, and then he'd come right out and it'd be like, do you want to go play ping pong? And we just well, I love that about him. And there were several moments where I really did have trouble, like between Layla and Stephen in episode 3 at the end, when they're figuring out the constellation. I was like, it's confusing, because this isn't just like you're looking at this person that you're taking new interest in. There's so much under it. And he would sit, and even if we had 2 minutes, we would just sit and really talk about it. And it helped so much. Like, what a generous actor when he's got so much on his plate to really help in that way. So I loved it. It's really funny. I don't get recognized. I live in LA. I don't get recognized, and it's fine. I love that. I can just walk. But once I did, and I was at a cafe, and this girl comes up to me and, oops. Sorry, yes, I have this limit on Instagram. It tried to kick me off. Not today,
it was
guys.
Just probably because you got sometimes the notices still come through and stuff, and then it pauses it. It's all good. So the last I heard was you were in the cat. Yeah, you're back.
I was in a cafe, and this girl comes up to me, and she's like, I love your work. But that was a side comment. She didn't actually care about, it was whatever. And then she's like, but now my friends and I, we are all now we can make out with Oscar Isaac. And I didn't even know what to say. I was like, really? I'm so glad that all that work that I put in was so that you could feel.
That you can make out with Oscar Isaac.
But okay, yeah, sure.
But May, you're changing lives. You're changing lives.
I guess he's the level that we all needed to feel like we could meet. I was like, he's Oscar. It's not that, but we'll keep that illusion going. He's a fun goof, and it's cool. But that was
so funny.
A funny moment for me.
Oh, it's this idea of celebrity. It's just such a weird, yeah.
Yeah, you really have to get out of that when you're in this, and I really had to work on that. Is these people are just like me. They've just been working at the craft a bit longer, but I say that this industry is really interesting to me, and I talk about that with my friends. Is you realize how people might talk to you differently when you're on a show, or what, people who wouldn't have even looked at me before are trying to reach out or talk or make plans, and it's guys, just a TV show. I just did this job. There are jobs that are so much more honorable. I'm grateful that it was a role that could speak to many women. If you're keeping your hair curly now more, if you're that.
Mhm.
And I feel like I've done my job. But yeah, it's just a TV show. But I will say generally, like as an artist, you're naturally an activist, and you
Yeah.
can choose how you want to be one, whether it's speaking on your platform.
Mhm.
For me, I always want to be able to funnel that through the art that I do.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, and I hope Layla met that in some way.
100%. And I think she does. And I always say the best stories create empathy and educate. And I think that if that can happen, um, it makes the world just a little bit better. It
Oh,
makes
right.
people, yeah. And it's also like a platform like the MCU, like Disney Plus, where it's so accessible. And truly you are incredible, May. You are so lovely. Congratulations on everything. You're truly so talented, and I can't wait to see, more. Just like I know that you're just going to go on to do project after project after project, and I can't wait to see all of the roles that you play that are impactful and beautiful. And obviously, we want to see more Layla. So,
Thank you. This means so much to me. You're wonderful. I've loved talking to you, and
oh
to everyone who's here. I'm so happy. It's
yeah,
so
you're getting so
I'm
much
like
love.
trying to like read everything, and
I
I really love you guys. Like I don't post about it every day, but I watch, I look at the art and I see the edits as much as I can, and it means a lot to me. I didn't think that I would get this response, or that Layla would, and so thank you.
Oh, well, every comment has been so positive and so full of love. And I just want to say, just celebrate yourself. I hope you are. I hope you are, because at the end of the day, we got to uplift each other and support
Yeah.
each other. That's what it's all about.
Thank you so much.
Mwah,
Trying.
this was such a pleasure. Oh,
I hope
what
we
a
get to talk
pleasure.
again. Definitely.
Oh, I would love
Bye.
that. I would love that. Have a lovely rest of your